Maybe you're at the part of your fitness journey where you're thinking about shedding some fat, maybe you want to show a bit more muscle definition, but you just don't know what foods to choose when you go into the grocery store, which I know it can be very overwhelming. Today we're going to be going to the grocery store and I'm going to be showing you foods that I personally buy while I am currently on this cutting journey. If you clicked on this YouTube video, hi and welcome. Before we go grocery shopping, the main thing that I want you to remember is when you are going into a cutting phase and you're currently eating in a calorie deficit, because you're going to be decreasing calories, which theoretically means decreasing the amount of food that you're intaking, the main thing that you want to be focusing on are high volume foods. So food that gives you a lot more volume, but lower calories. So that's what we're going to be focusing on when we go into the grocery store. So without further ado, let's go grocery shopping. Always remember to bring your reusable bags. This is going to be a two-part video. So in another YouTube video, I'm going to be doing the cost of living in Dubai groceries focused. So if you want to know the total of how much these groceries cost me, make sure to check out that video. The thing about the grocery stores here is that they're all, the main bigger grocery stores, you can obviously find smaller ones like in the middle of downtown, but mostly all of them are inside of a mall. So that's where we're going right now, inside of a mall to go grocery shopping. So one thing that I will actively do when I'm in the grocery store, especially if I'm looking for different types of food that maybe aren't my staples, but I want to try out different food, is I will compare the calories. So looking at the nutritional facts, looking at what the calories are, the carb, the fat, the protein, versus how much of it you're going to get. 210 calories for one burger patty. I don't know if that's something I would want to do. They do look super good, so we're going to try them out.
Oh, didn't we say we're going to have a burger night today?
Yeah. One cutting hack is zero-calorie drinks. Not only are they super helpful when you're kind of craving something sweet, maybe you think you're hungry, most times you're probably dehydrated. But just having a fizzy, carbonated, no-calorie drink is so nice to have in the kitchen. If you can choose between Coke Zero or Sprite Zero, whatever zero drink, versus having all of those extra calories and carbs, a drink that's not a zero, why would you drink your calories when you can save that for food that you can actually eat and enjoy? Currently going over my grocery list, which I think is such a good hack to do before you go to the grocery store, just to make sure you have everything that you came here for. I think we got everything that I wanted at this grocery store, so we're good to go to the next grocery store. I'm going to be going into more in-depth of an explanation of the foods that I chose, but this is a perfect example of low-calorie, high-volume foods. I can eat this entire bag of these mini rice cakes. This is the curry flavor. It's only 166 calories for the entire bag, where we bought these chocolate-filled croissants the other day. The croissant was 106, it was 62 calories, which is almost the exact same as this, but the croissant I ate in 2 bites because it was just a normal size croissant. For this one, I can continue to keep snacking on and feel like I'm eating a lot more food with the same amount of calories. I just got back from grocery shopping. I don't know if anyone else is like me, but I love grocery shopping. I love going into the store, looking at the nutrition labels, seeing what's worth the calories for the carbs and fats that it is. On a daily basis, I'm just always just so grateful for food, because obviously there's a lot of less fortunate people that don't get to just being able to feed yourself, and feeding yourself well is just such a blessing that I feel a lot of people just take for granted. And so I always, every single day, make sure to just thank God that I have food and that I can afford food and feed myself. A week has actually gone by since we went grocery shopping. I already filmed everything that I wanted to say, but I just didn't like the way that I executed it, and I'm really trying to give you the best information, so we are doing it again. One big tip that I want to give you before you even go into the grocery store: don't go grocery shopping when you're hungry. Listen, I know you've probably heard it before and you're probably thinking to yourself, it's probably not a big deal. It very much does make a big difference if you're going shopping hungry, and here's why. If you're going into the grocery store already with a big appetite, you're super hungry, and then you're wandering down the aisles looking at all this food, looking at all these temptations, because you're super hungry, everything's gonna look 10 times better than it is, and then you're more likely to buy things that you maybe would have passed out on had you gone in there with a more clear mind. So do not go grocery shopping when you're hungry. Now that we are in the grocery store, we're looking around, you don't know what foods to get, you don't even know kind of what to look for when you are choosing an option on the shelf. Obviously, at the beginning of this video, I told you that the main thing I want you to be focused on are trying to find those foods that are low cal, high volume. But maybe you're going in there and you're like, I don't even know how to tell what's considered low calorie and high volume. I'm completely new at this. Emily, please give me some tips. What you want to be looking at are the nutritional labels on each food item. And if you don't know what to look for when you are looking at a nutrition label, let's go through one together right now. Okay, let's start off with these mushroom crepes. What you want to be looking for is the serving, the calories, and then each separate macro. So carbs, fats, proteins. Obviously, you can take into consideration the sugar, the sodium, the fiber, if it has trans fat, XYZ. But sometimes looking at all of that can just be very overwhelming. This is very much like beginner, and then later on, as you get more into your fitness journey, if you do start caring about the ingredients, those are things that you can kind of start to pay attention to at your own pace and kind of at your own discretion. Okay, so these crepes, for example, this entire box itself is 300 grams. The nutrition facts that it's giving me is per 100 grams, and one crepe is 50 grams, meaning that the nutrition facts of these crepes is for 2 crepes. So 2 of these would be 1 serving. It's gonna be 112 calories, 1.9 grams of fat, 18 carb, and 5 protein. For 2 crepes, it only being 112 calories, that's pretty low. That means I can eat 4 of these and it only be like 200 calories, which is usually like the amount of like 1 chocolate bar. So always taking a look at, like I said, the calories, the macros compared to the serving that it is. Sometimes the nutrition facts might not even be for the full serving of what you're picking up. Let's say the nutritional fact says per half of a chocolate bar, it's 150 calories. And you look at the nutrition facts and you're like, okay, 150 doesn't sound too bad, but it's like, no, the serving size says for half of a chocolate bar. So that means if you have the full chocolate bar, it's 300 calories. Okay, now that you have a little bit more knowledge of what to look for when you're looking at the nutrition labels of a food item, let's get into different food options. So let's start off with the holy grail, the food item that everyone talks about, the food item that is put on the highest pedestal, that's protein. Protein! Protein is not only gonna help you build muscle, but it's also gonna help you hold on to the muscle that you already have when you are going through this fat loss phase. And not just that, protein is also going to help you stay fuller for longer. The #1 protein that everyone obviously always raves about is chicken.
It's chicken. It's fried chicken. I like fried chicken.
The reason being is chicken is a lean source of protein, so it's gonna be low calorie, high protein for the volume that you're gonna be eating. If you find yourself that you super struggle getting your protein goal, a supplement is a great option in addition to put into your food selection to help you hit that goal. But if you're like me and you would rather eat more food and maybe not drink your calories, I'm gonna give you all my staple proteins that I personally buy right now. Chicken, minced chicken. The macros of these are really, really good. For 100 grams, it's only 100 calories and 15 grams of protein. So I buy chicken breast because it's the leanest chicken. You can buy things like chicken legs, chicken thighs, things like that. But because they're gonna have that added fat, it's gonna be a lot higher in calorie. You saw me pick these up at the grocery store. And at the time, I was kind of questioning whether I wanted to buy these because one patty itself is 200 calories. And I can confirm that the 200 calories for one beef patty, I think is totally worth it. It's a really good sized patty. They're jumbos. Eggs, Greek yogurt, 2 different kinds of turkey. We have turkey breast slices, and then we have turkey bacon strips. Different variations, but 2 different fun ways of getting your protein intake. I picked these protein bars up because they were on sale, so I stocked up on them. One thing I do want to say about protein bars is that sometimes they can be a little bit high calorie. You can sometimes find protein bars for like 200 plus calories. 250 calories for one protein bar might not be bad for you and like your needs. I personally find that 200 plus calories for one protein bar is a bit high. I would rather find different food sources where I could eat a lot more of, but maybe you'll find that some days your appetite isn't as high as other days, so maybe having like a higher calorie snack is a good option. It's really just about kind of taking it day by day and kind of seeing what your cravings are like. Any fish, white cod, salmon, tuna, shrimp, do not sleep on the amount of protein that is in shrimp. Cottage cheese is also a really good option. I haven't been able to find cottage cheese here in the UAE. I have no idea why. Any deli meat is a really good option option too, ham. I buy this protein bread, which obviously is more of a carb, but it's a lot higher protein than just another regular loaf of bread. Take your time in the grocery store, try to find different sources of proteins just to switch things up and so that you don't get bored of eating the same thing. Okay, now let's move on to carbs. For your carb sources, there's so many carb sources that you can find at the grocery store. Higher processed carb sources like chips, cookies, high sugar cereals, things like that. And then you can find your kind of more whole food carbs. When you're focusing on more of those whole foods, you're gonna get a lot more bang for your buck on your carbs. You're gonna be able to eat a lot more, feel a lot more satisfied. You know when you like eat a whole bunch of cookies and then you just like feel kind of groggy and tired and sluggish and you just like don't feel the best, your energy levels kind of dip down. Whereas if you have maybe a bowl of like rice with some ground beef, add some potatoes, you're not gonna get that gross sluggish feeling after. So not only is focusing on those more whole food carbs gonna help you to feel better, you're also gonna be able to eat a lot more of it. And I don't want you to go into the grocery store thinking that you can't have maybe those more fun carbs, but again, take into consideration how much of that you can eat versus how much of it you can have if it's a more whole food source, and kind of choose your battles from there. My main carb sources right now, baby potatoes, huge bang for your buck for your calories and the volume you can eat of these. Rice is a really good option, and I don't want you to think that you have to buy brown rice or whole wheat rice, or white rice is not bad for you. It's just about portioning it and making sure you're not eating too much of it. Quinoa is a really good option. Oatmeal, there's so many fun ways that you can spice up your oatmeal. Beans, black beans, chickpeas, kidney beans, white beans, pinot beans, any beans is also a really good option. And again, really good bang for your buck on the macros. For 100 grams of red kidney beans, it's only 53 calories. We picked up this fitness cereal, again, paying attention to the nutrition facts. This cereal versus the higher sugar cereals on the shelf. This was obviously the better option. I like adding my cereal into my oatmeal, into yogurt, into pudding, just a fun topping to have in the kitchen. And sometimes I'm just in the mood of a bowl of cereal, so this was a really good option. But the best carb source that you can pick up at the grocery store that's gonna be very low cal, high volume, are gonna be your fruits and veggies. The doctors growing up telling us to eat our veggies every day. I know they only said it for the benefits that fruits and veggies give you. All the micronutrients that are in there are so good for you. But let's put that aside for a second and focus on the fact that especially vegetables, now fruits are a little bit different. They're gonna be a lot more higher carb versus your veggies. Still a really good source of carbs to have it in your kitchen, but veggies are such game changer for low cal, high volume. And I know I've been saying that continuously in this video, low cal, high volume, low cal, high volume, but that's what you want to be looking for when you're in that calorie deficit and you're decreasing your calories. You want to be able to eat as much food as you possibly can. My main veggies right now are going to be baby tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers. You can have such a high serving of peppers for such low calorie. Kale, and then I recently picked up white cabbage. This is such a game changer. I am telling you, the amounts of volume that you can eat of cabbage versus the calories that it is, chef's freaking kiss. Those are just the main veggies that I eat right now because those are the ones that I enjoy. Obviously, if all the options that I just named off you aren't a fan of, make sure you're going into the grocery store and picking those fruits and vegetables that you enjoy. Okay, then the last macro we're gonna touch up on, super brief, I don't have a lot to say, they're your fats. Fats are also important. They actually help aid with your recovery and to repair your muscles when you're in the gym. Almond milk's actually a really good option, really low calorie for the amount that you're getting. And obviously there's a whole bunch of different versions of almond milk. You can get like sweetened, unsweetened. I just get the no sugar added almond milk just to keep it low calorie. You can buy things like peanut butter, any nut butter, almond butter, olive oil. I don't really go into the grocery store buying fat specifically. I feel like with the food sources that I already eat, there's fat added into it, like eggs, the egg yolk is high in fat. The protein bars, there's a lot of fat in that. The beef burgers, there's a lot of fat in that. Okay, so now that we kind of went through our proteins, fats, and carbs, one micronutrient that I do want to talk about is fiber. Without getting too scientific, you can look up the benefits of fiber yourself. I'm going to just say it in the most simplest form. Fiber is what's going to help you poop. Sure, you've probably heard people talking about their gut health and how they've improved their gut health. There's actually a documentary on Netflix. I don't remember what it's called, but it's pretty much talking about the importance of keeping your gut healthy because your gut affects so much. It affects your skin, your mood, your energy levels. Fiber is so important to help you regulate things in your system. So every single day you're eating all this food, you're putting all this food into your stomach. You want to make sure you're eating enough fiber to help regulate things in your system so that you're able to flush out the things that you don't need. And by flushing that out, I mean going to the toilet. Also takes away any excess bloat that you might get from being constipated. Some good high fiber sources are gonna be avocado, vegetables. There's 6 grams of fiber per 1 serving of beans, which is 100 grams. That's super high. Beans are a really good source. Things like apples, potatoes are huge for fiber, oatmeal. So if you aren't already focused on your fiber intake, try to be a little bit more mindful. I promise it's just gonna help things flow a little bit better in your system. Okay, another tip I wanna give you when you go grocery shopping, just because you are in a fat loss phase, a weight loss phase, you're eating a calorie deficit, that does not equal, and that does not mean eating boring, plain, bland foods. You think that you can't have salt because you're trying to lose weight, and you think that you can't flavor your food because being in a calorie deficit means boring food. You have that completely wrong. You are not going to be able to sustain this long term. If you go out to a restaurant or if you order your favorite fast food, why do you like that food so much? Because it tastes good, right? Obviously that's why you want more of it. Obviously that's why you keep going back and buying more. Have fun with your food. I feel like that's such an underrated tip to help you in this calorie deficit journey, is having fun with your food and finding ways to spice up your food so that you are excited to eat your next meal. Now, just some super simple, quick ways that you can do that. My main herbs right now are gonna be cilantro, and I actually just picked up dill yesterday, which I never bought or seen dill like this. I've only ever bought like the dry seasoning of it. This was a fun pickup at the grocery store yesterday. Cilantro I love. If you are the type of person that you think cilantro tastes like soap, I have no words for you.
Do me a favor, please. Get out of here. Get out of here, man.
I'm just kidding. I don't understand it. I love cilantro, but if that is you, that is okay. Just don't buy it. Some different herbs that you can pick up: basil, parsley, mint, oregano, things like onion. I personally don't like white onion, but I am a sucker for green onion, red onion, garlic, things like lemon, lime. Add that flavor, add that juice to your food. Lime and lemon just enhance your food flavors just so much. Things like vinegar, jalapenos, low-cal salsa. Salsa's also a really good option. I love putting salsa on my eggs. Obviously things like salt and pepper. I love buying cinnamon to put on my oatmeal. If I'm having like Greek yogurt and apples, I'll put some like cinnamon on there. There's literally so many ways that you can spice up your food to make them fun and to make them just taste good. Buying things like sweetener versus sugar. I like to put it into my oatmeal. And then another like low calorie option, I like buying these like 2-in-1 coffee sticks. So it comes with like the coffee and the creamer. And then I add a sweetener packet in it so that it's still low calorie, tastes just as good as the one with the actual sugar in it, but is a better alternative. And while we're talking about making that effort to choose those low calorie options, I want to stop and interrupt this segment to give you a really good option using Greek yogurt. If when I was talking about Greek yogurt earlier, you were like, ugh, you like threw up in your mouth a little bit because you just hate Greek yogurt. So many ways that you can spice up Greek yogurt to add it into your diet where you can make it taste good. I like eating Greek yogurt with apples and cinnamon as like a sweet option. Add a little packet of sweetener in it. It gives you that like regular sweetened yogurt flavor, but you get a lot more protein. And I'm also gonna give you this recipe that I made yesterday using Greek yogurt that I found on Instagram. We are going to taste test it. This bowl is completely filled. There's a lot of food in here, and this is less than 400 calories. Let me get some of that potato. Ugh. The flavors just like attacked my taste buds. Oh my goodness. This is so good. Such high volume for such low cal. I'm probably gonna be full after this and feel nice and satisfied. You can easily grab a recipe online and switch it up to your own liking. Maybe you don't like garlic, take the garlic out. It's really just about finding what works for you and what you like. And this is absolutely delicious. I'm going to devour this. Okay, the last tip I want to give you as we wrap up this video is in regards to those bad foods, junk food, high calorie foods. I don't like calling it bad foods because I just don't think there's any bad food. You can eat anything as long as it's in moderation and you're kind of mindful of how much of it you're eating. I'm not saying that I want you to feel like you can't have it. If you feel like you can buy like your favorite snack and have it in the kitchen, and you can kind of have that self-control to eat it in moderation and to maybe not go overboard when you are snacking on it, that's completely completely okay. Sometimes it's easier not to have it in your kitchen. Sometimes it's easier not to even be tempted by it. And I'm not saying this has to be a forever thing. If you are watching this video, obviously you're trying to take the steps towards making those healthier grocery choices at the grocery store. Sometimes not having it in the kitchen and not even picking it up at the grocery store might be a better alternative for you, because when you're at home and you're kind of having those cravings, if you see the cookies in your kitchen, you're gonna be a lot more tempted to reach for that versus like the apple that's on your counter. Don't want this to sound restricting at all, and I don't want you to feel like you can't have them. But if you are someone that maybe gets tempted a lot easier, just don't even pick it up. And then the final thing I want to leave you with all the tips that I have given you, and hopefully I have helped you as much as I possibly can, I want you to remember that a journey is called a journey for a reason. I don't want you to feel like you're gonna get it all together right away. It's gonna take time. Building habits takes time. I want you to be patient with yourself on this journey that you are on. Focus on finding foods that you enjoy and that you are going to be excited to eat. Don't buy peppers just because you saw Sally buying peppers and she has your dream body and you think that you need to eat peppers because she's eating peppers. No, that's not how it works. Give yourself that grace and understanding that you are learning and that you got to take this day by day, and you're not going to have it all together just by watching one YouTube video. If you have any questions for me at all, please do not hesitate to reach out, DM me on Instagram, put them in the comments. And if you are still here watching it, I appreciate you more than you know. And if you are still watching, that means you're determined to make these changes in your life. And so I am rooting for you. I believe in you. And until next time, I will see you in my next video. Oh, my legs.